In this video, I'm going to talk about Royal Blue's 3 different resorts, what permits are required to ride Cumberland trails, and a little bit about our first impressions of the trails. This is the first time we've been, so a little bit about what we think in the area. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoy. First off, let's talk about the permit. I had done quite a bit of research and before we got there to see what we needed and all, but I will say, trying to figure out what permit was needed and when you get to the Tennessee websites and try to figure out exactly what to click on wasn't easy. If you look at the info on the screen, it does tell you, and this is on Ride Royal Blue's webpage, it does tell you exactly what you need. And then here is a copy of the permit, which is what we needed for 7 days. If you're staying longer, it's a little different, or if you're staying less time, it's a little different, but at least gives you an idea. You're basically buying a usage permit. You're buying a hunting stamp, and that's for impact on the area. I think that's what was the most confusing for me, was that I was buying a hunting permit for our vehicle. It's one permit per vehicle. Hatfield and McCoy's is per user. So trying to go to the different areas, every place is different. And, you do have to be flexible and try to figure them all out. And I will say, it took me a little while to understand that I was buying a hunting permit. But it's one per vehicle, and depending on how long you're going to be there, depends on what exactly you need. So the website does give you a good indication of what you need. You just have to read it and then, just pay attention to exactly what you're getting. And I did read that you can even get it at Walmart after you get there and several other places, I think. One other thing to note is if you have kids with you that are under the age of 18 or 18 or under, they have to wear helmets. So just be aware of that. And the trails at Royal Blue are a lot different than Hatfield and McCoy. They do tend to get a little bit rougher, so just be aware. First off, let me just say we did really enjoy the area and we enjoyed the trails. It was a lot of fun, and it was a nice change from Hatfield and McCoy's. We were there a couple weeks, and then we came over to Royal Blue. I had heard a lot of things about the trails, but nobody really talked about the campgrounds. So there are tons and tons of campgrounds there in that area that you can ride the Cumberland trails with. Ride Royal Blue is just a set of campgrounds that are there that actually have trail access and the information there. But there are tons of campgrounds in the area if you want to look around at some of the others. But to go over the Royal Blue ones, there are 3 resorts at Royal Blue. I didn't really understand which one was better or what the differences are. So I'm going to do a drive-through through each. Here's their picture from their website that shows you what they describe. Basically, the primary one is, or the original one is Eagle Rock, and it has the cabins there. It has the ATV Wash. It has fuel. It has a camp store. They also have a place across the street that has fuel as well. It's more of a gravel, and I'm going to show you videos through each of them. We stayed at the Ridges, and it worked for us. It probably wasn't the best fit for our size rig. Had we come in on a Saturday morning, we would have had a terrible time getting to our site, just because we are so long. But the Ridges is better for as far as it has grass behind. So for us with dogs, it's nice to have some grassy areas, more so than Eagle Rock. And the one with the biggest sites for the bigger rigs is really Rock Ridge Resort. And that's got the swimming pool, and I think they're putting in pickleball. It's just a little bit more upscale than the Ridges. The other thing to note, if you are going to the Ridges and you have a big rig like us especially, or whether you do or not, if you call them and ask them the campsite, on the way in, you're going to come to that campground before you get to Eagle Rock to the uh, check-in. You can pull in directly into the ridges and go to your site before you go to the campground. Otherwise, if you go to the campground and have to turn around, like for us with a big rig, and we're like 75 feet when you add the trailer on, it's we couldn't turn around, and you can't go in the entrance way from the opposite direction. So we had to. There's a place that we did find where we could turn around, and then had to go in the exit because there's no way we could have made that S turn back into the ridges had we known. And what the other people next to us did was they called on the way and said, "Hey, what's the number of our campsite?" They went in, pulled in, unhooked, and then went down to the camp store. So just keep that in mind when you're going in. They're all three nice campgrounds. It's just what you're looking for. I think that Eagle Rock is probably louder, probably noisier. It does have all the cabins, and there are no grassy areas like for pets or anything. So, and the other one is Rock Ridge is definitely more of a resort. It's got a playground, it's got a swimming pool, it's got pickleball. So, each has their own thing. Just be aware going in. I wasn't sure of that whenever I looked, and I researched, and I didn't understand that it was the ridges, then on down the road, another mile, there's a couple campgrounds in between. Then there's the main campsite, the Eagle Rock or Eagle Ridge, and then on down the road is their resort one. So they're lined up in a row. There's houses and campgrounds between them, but they're all on the same road. So just kind of do a little bit of research so you know which one you want to stay at. One other thing, the bathrooms here were very clean and neat, and they do have a washer and dryer that is free to use. It's only one washer, one dryer, but it is nice that they do offer that. And what you're seeing now is the exit of the ridges, which is how we had to come in because coming from that direction, that was really our only option. I will say I asked the kid at the store where we could turn our rig around, and he just says, "Oh, just across the street at the other thing." There's absolutely no way. The thing is, if you're driving a big rig, you understand that most people don't know what it takes to turn these things around. And across the street, fortunately, on down the road, there is a place with some rocks standing up. There's like a little loop you can make, and the guys across the street told us where that was, so that helped. And the kid also told me when we were heading back to the ridges to make sure you go in the entrance, not the exit. And I'm looking at the map of how the entrance and all work. And I looked at Vic and said, there is absolutely no way you're going in the entrance. You're going to have to go in the exit. Some people come up as we were pulled up, stopping and looking at the exit. They were on their side-by-sides, and they said the same thing. And they went on in the exit, and then we just followed them in. It's not really a problem unless you're there when a lot of people are coming in and out. But you definitely would be better off going in the entrance on the way in and not trying to go down and then come back. So, lesson learned. I mean, there's always a way, and we can turn around and back up and do all that if we have to, but let's try not to make it harder than it needs to be. This is actually the drive from the ridges down to Eagle Rock, which is the campground you have to check in. One of the things to note is during hunting season, they do request that you are supposed to wear orange vests, or bright orange, or so, I guess so you don't get shot, which is surprising to me that if I'm in the side-by-side with it running, I'm not really sure that the vest, if they don't see the side-by-side and they don't hear the engine running, not sure how the vest is going to help. But, that's just me. Maybe the vest will catch their eye. You definitely need to wear something bright orange if you get out of the side-by-side and you're walking around and on the trail. So this is the entrance into the campground. And again, it's a good thing we stayed in the ridges. This would have been a hard turn for us to make and would have been a little tight camping for us. So here we're going up to the camp store. We're going to go in and get the vest. There is fuel here. There is very minimal supplies here. You can get milk and eggs, and that's pretty much it. So just understand there's not a lot. Don't count on them for supplies. But they do have fuel here, and if they're out here, you can go to their other store across the street and get fuel. And there's another couple places you can get fuel off some of the trails or off one of the trails. A little look at Eagle Rock Campground. This is the trail that this gets you to Trailhead. I think it's 27 that you enter onto the trail system with. It's a black trail. They're white and black. They have white, black, and then a black dashed line on how they're marked. Lifetime Maps does list them a little different. On Lifetime, this one is marked as a blue trail. They're definitely more blue than green, but it's like I said, it's just an all gravel campground, and then this does take you right onto the trail site from here. They do lock the gate or close the gate at night because they don't want people running in and out of the campground, waking all their guests, I suppose. And there is an ATV wash, which I will show you later in this video, so that you can clean up your side by side when you're done. I think it's 6 minutes is $5 or something. You have to buy a coupon for it or a token in the camp store. And this is, like I said, Eagle Rock it's just a standard gravel parking lot. I will say, if you're coming here, or most UTV places or trail places, arriving on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you have to, you have to. But if you have an option, you don't want to try to arrive or leave on the weekend. It's just really, really crowded, and you're going to be dealing with a lot of traffic. So we leave the weekends for those that are still working and that are having to deal with that. So we try not to get in their way. We try to stay a little longer and not fight for competition on the weekends. Here's the trail. This gives you an idea of what it had rained the day before when we did this, so you're seeing a little bit more water. But the trails do get a little slick. And if you've been to Hatfield and McCoy, it's more like a blue trail on Hatfield and McCoy. Just a little rougher. It's not hard to get up and down. It's just a little bit rougher. It's a beautiful trail, and the trails there are generally beautiful. We had heard a lot of stuff about Royal Blue, and I thought it was kind of like Brimstone or Windrock, where that was part of their complex, but this is Cumberland National Forest, or State Forest, or whatever it is. So there's tons of campgrounds in the area. You can stay at any one of them, but it's just Royal Blue is set up for trail riding. And they're beautiful trails. They are a little rougher than Hatfield, and you definitely could find, if you wanted to find bad trails, you can certainly do it. There are some of what they have marked as black trails, which they do get a little dicey on a few areas, but there's usually ways around them. Now, the black dash we didn't do because we're typically riding by ourselves, and this is one of the few exceptions. We were riding with some people, and generally, if we're riding by ourselves, we're not going to take anything really crazy. But there's nothing here that you can definitely make your decisions on what you want to do. But there's most of the blue, they're what they call white and black trails. They get a little bouncy, and there's a few rocks, a little bit more technical, but nothing horrible. And here for the third resort that is part of the Ride Royal Blue family is we're leaving the Eagle Rock with the campground, and we're going on down the road to the resort that they have. So first, when you're coming from I-75, is the ridges. You'll go down a couple miles till you hit Eagle Rock Royal Blue, which is their one with their campground. Across the street is another one of theirs where they rent and work on side by side, and then you can get fuel there. And then on down a mile or two is their third campground, which is the resort, the more what they call boutique resort, and it's got the swimming pool, and it's designed for bigger rigs. I think the cost is like $20 a site more. I think it depends too on which site you get, but it's a beautiful campground, and it really just depends on your taste and your needs. Here you can see that on both sides of the road there's some houses. There's also some private campsites people have made for their resort, for their RVs. And I think on down this road there is a um, writer's bar. I don't know if it's a restaurant too. I would assume that you can go to. So here is the resort. Like I said, it's not far from the others. They're just kind of lined up in a row. And if you can see, obviously it's a little bit more upscale. It's got the bigger rig, it's got the bigger size. It's got some really nice cabins too. So if you're looking for cabins, this is an option as well. It's a nice little resort. It's a little more fancy than the others, but it's still set up for riding and for trails. So the main entrance to get onto the trail, if you're staying in this area, is probably the one right beside the general store there. There's not a direct entrance from this campground. And then there is the one on down, which is Trail 13, which is the other entrance in. So, and like I said, you're going to the Cumberland Forest, so there's lots of different campgrounds in the area and lots of different rental cabins and stuff. So, but all in all, it's a very pretty cabin. We would definitely stay here again. But there are others down there too. I think there's a little farm down there, and there's several others that next time I'll check out. Also, in this area is this is not far from Packet Creek. You're not far from Brimstone. You're not far from Windrock. So there is lots of riding in this area. The thing is, if you're going between one to the other, I think Tackett Creek is the same permit, but if Windrock is its own park, and you have to buy different permits, daily passes, I think. I'm not sure. You'd have to look at Windrock. So I'm not sure, and for Brimstone as well, you'd have to look and see what permits. So if you went from one to another, you may have to buy permits at each place. But lots to do here. We definitely want to check out Windrock and Brimstone and Tackett Creek. We would have done Tackett Creek if we'd have had a little longer. And plus, this is a little bit of a drive to get with the side-by-side without trailering it to Tackett Creek. You definitely can do it, but it would have been an all-day ride. And we really wanted to explore this part, and then at a later time we'll come back where we'll stay longer next time too. We just wasn't sure this time if it was something we were going to enjoy. But next time we'll stay longer, and maybe we'll stay part of the time down someplace near Tackett Creek or over at Brimstone where we can explore some of those areas too. But all in all, great riding. Really enjoyed it. So this is their resort. That's a little preview of their resort. Like I said, I looked at their website a lot and I researched it, and it was hard for me to figure out the 3 different campgrounds. So I hope this helps you figure it out. I'm going to go ahead and show you the whole path from leaving this one, going back. We're heading back towards I-75, and we'll pass the Eagle Rock, and then we'll go into the ridges so you can see about how far they are from each other. They're really close. So this is Ride Royal Blues, the camp store one, so the primary. And then now we'll head on down to the ridges. It's I think it said 1.1 miles from the Eagle Rock into the ridges. So they're all, just a mile or two apart. So easy to get to, and it's a beautiful road, and it's a nice that stinking Creek Road. You exit right off of the interstate, so easy to get to, easy area to get to, which was nice. And yes, we are entering through the exit. This is how we had to come with our camper. And I'll show you on the Google Earth maps exactly why we had to do that. If you look at this picture, it shows Stinking Creek Road. And the yellow is the way the guy told us to come in. And where I circled it in red, there is no stinking way we would make that turn. It just wouldn't happen with our rig. So we came in the way that we're doing with the side by side and the way the Google shows. Was definitely easy enough, and it's not that many people coming in and out that it was a problem. So it was easy enough to exit that way with the camper. But here's another view of the ridges. Like I said, overall, it's a nice campground. There are two, I think, pull-through sites there. This is one of them that we're driving through. There are a couple pull-throughs. Most of these are back ends. And the reason I said we wouldn't come in or want to leave on a weekend or come in on a weekend is because if you look at the way that they're angled for our rig and to get turned around, we kind of need to be able to pull up into one of the other sites. And if you had all those packed with cars out there, it'd be hard for us to make that turn because we kind of have to turn. You'd kind of have to make a left turn to do it, and then you'd be getting turned around. Without anyone there, we could pull straight into the campsite in front of us and then back up and make a nice easy turn and then hook the trailer. Here is at the Eagle Rock with the campground store, just past it. This is us going up to the UTV Wash or ATV Wash. It is a pressure washer and worked really well. So just so you can get a little bit more view of the campsite. Thought every dog had its day. What a time for the wicked, the hungry and the brave. Ain't no time left to pretend. The car is on its way. Somebody call the cat in. We don't need another stray. If everybody had an answer, nobody'd have to wait. What a time for the righteous. The hero never. Here we're heading on down past the campground. We're heading towards I-75 to try to get on Trail 13, which shows it being a white trail to start the trailheads for our first day. And I don't know, I would say white and black on their map. Use them selectively because it just depends on the day on how bad the trail is. Don't do what we did. We missed the trail, got on up a little further, and then realized it and had to turn around and go back. But trying to figure out the area for the first time was interesting. And I'll show you a little bit of that trail, that entrance trail. I'll be the great liberator and set somebody free. About here's where we realized we needed to turn around. So turned around, went back, and found the trail. This is also an entrance. It's just not the one we had in mind of finding. So we turned around and went back to 13, and then at a later date, this is trail 10th. So at a later date, we'll do this one. At that point, we weren't sure what the, white and black and how difficult they were. I would say they're, depending on the day, a black is no worse than a white. On the lifetime maps, it showed it as a blue. So comparing it to Hatfields, I consider whites and blacks blue or maybe a little harder blue. So not anything serious. So here we're heading back to the trail we meant to take, which is Trail 13. There is a water crossing there, nothing, no big deal, but I would definitely pay attention to the weather. I don't know if that gets deeper there or not, but something to be aware of. And as you can see, when I say we missed it by a lot. Not just a little. We missed it by, I don't know, a mile probably. So we wanted to go back and try to find that. They told us to look for a church. So the people that told us which way to go, some of the other people there, said, oh, just turn right there at the church. Well, okay, we didn't see a church. And you'll see when we make the turn, there is a sign for a cemetery and a church. But we didn't see any of that when we went by. After we knew what to look for, then it was easy enough to spot. But the first time it wasn't. They made it sound like there'd be a church just sitting there waiting, and there wasn't. Coming from this direction, you see the sign. Coming from the other direction, we didn't see no sign. So, easy enough to correct, but here's the start of this trail, and we'll show you a little bit of it so you know what to expect. Our overall rating of this is, we definitely want to come back. It was a fun trails and different trails. It's very different than Hatfield and McCoy's if you're used to that area. And we've rode, Utah and Colorado and New Mexico and, all over. And each place has its own thing. This one's a little, there's more ledges and rocks, I think, and more trees rather than scrub brushes. A lot of the Hatfield and McCoy trails, depending on which trails you're on, they have a lot of bushes right beside the road. And this is more tree wilderness. The only livestock we saw, or only animals we saw, is we did see a coyote, but unfortunately my camera had a meltdown about that time, so I missed it. But there was a coyote. We didn't see any bears. I do know there are some in the area, and they said they saw them at Tackett Creek. But definitely a fun area to ride, and I think there is all levels of skill levels here. I think you can find easy rides if you want to find easy rides. Everybody only shows the difficult. They're scaling a rock and rolling their side-by-side down. And that's not what we do. We like to trail ride. We like to see sights. We don't mind the challenge here and there, but we're not into tearing up our bodies or our equipment. We're old. We've retired. We did all that crazy stuff when we were younger. We had three-wheelers and four-wheelers and jet skis, and we rolled down hills, and we did all that stupid stuff. Had a Jeep out mud bogging. We've done that. We're at a stage where we want to enjoy the trail and not spend half of our time winching it out through a mud puddle or tearing up our equipment. We want to enjoy the trails, not beat ourselves up on the trails. So we were concerned when people talked about Royal Blue that it was going to be just, we even saw some people at Hatfields and McCoys that were telling us, oh, there's ruts that your side-by-side would fall in. And we're like, well, that's not going to work very well for us. And there are those there. There certainly are those trails where they're definitely torn up, but usually there's a way around them, and not all the trails are like that. You can find whatever level you're looking for. Just ride within your means. ride within the machine you're on, whatever its capabilities are. Ride within that capabilities and ride within your own capabilities, and also the people that are riding with you. If we take my mom and the dogs, then we ride differently than if it's just Vic and I. He can do a little bit rougher stuff and he can go a little faster. If my mother, who is 82, and the dogs are with us, we're going to take it a lot easier. I don't want to hurt my mother, and I also don't want to hurt my dogs. So it needs to be something everybody enjoys. So we try to ride, and if we're riding with other people, we try to keep that in mind, their skill level, and not ride faster than they're comfortable with, or outside their scope. So that's how you get hurt, is if you ride outside your scope. We've done this a long time, and we've done a lot of different things, so we understand that. So just ride within your means. And there's certainly all levels here for whatever level you are. If you want to climb the rocks and do the rock crawling, just make sure your machine is capable of it. You use the safety gear, the harnesses, the helmet. Do the stuff that you need to do to be safe. And we try to ride within our means and what our desires and what our likes are. I'm gonna have several other videos coming out on the trails we did at Royal Blue. We did do some a little bit rougher. Went down to a couple waterfalls. The one near La Follette was no joke. That's a white trail, and Trail 2, that gets muddy, wet, and there were definitely some ruts. But we did that, and we had my mom and the dogs with us. So yay! Didn't follow our own rules. Didn't know it was going to be that rough, but we didn't do anything crazy. But I'll show you a little bit more of that. So I'll have a lot more coming out on Royal Blue. I just wanted to give you an idea of the campgrounds and the stuff that I couldn't find when I was researching. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. It makes it more interesting for me if I see people are interested in what we're putting out there. And if you see us on the road, please stop by, say hi. Vic's always looking for someone to talk to. See you down the road. So thanks for watching.